A to Z Nursing Vlogs, presenting you here another video on the topic infection. Let's dive into the video. We all know that microorganisms exist everywhere in water, in soil, and on body surfaces such as the skin, intestinal tract, and other areas open to the outside such as our mouth, upper respiratory tract, vagina, and lower urinary tract. Many organisms are harmless, others are lethal. Some are a normal part of our body. As such, the ones directly involved in providing biologically safe environment are none other than the nurses. Let's learn about the infection control in this video for nurses. What is infection? Infection is the growth of microorganisms in body tissue where they are usually not found. Infectious agent. Such a microorganism is called an infectious agent or the source, a germ, a virus, or other microbes. Asymptomatic. If the microorganism produces no clinical evidence of disease, the infection is called asymptomatic or subclinical. Disease. A detectable alteration in normal tissue function is called disease. Virulence. Microorganisms vary in their virulence or their ability to produce disease, the severity of the disease they produce, and their degree of communicability. Pathogenicity. Pathogenicity is the ability to produce disease. Thus, a pathogen is a microorganism that causes the disease. Asepsis. Asepsis is the freedom from disease-causing microorganism. Aseptic technique is used to decrease the possibility of transferring microorganisms from one place to another. Medical asepsis. Medical asepsis includes all practical intended to confine a specific microorganism to a specific area, limiting the number, growth, and transmission of microorganism. Surgical asepsis. Surgical asepsis or sterile technique refers to those practices that keep an area or an object free of all the microorganisms. It includes practices that destroys the microorganisms and the spores. Sepsis. Sepsis is the condition in which acute organ dysfunction occurs secondary to infection. Viruses. Viruses consist primarily of nucleic acid and therefore must enter living cells in order to reproduce. Common virus families include rhinoviruses, which cause the common cold, hepatitis, herpes, and human immunodeficiency virus. Fungi. Fungi includes yeast and molds. Candida albicans is a yeast considered to be a normal flora in the human vagina. Parasites. Parasites live on other living organisms. They include protozoa such as the one that cause malaria, helminths which are worms, and arthropods which are mites, fleas, ticks. Infection occurs when newly introduced or resident microorganisms succeed in invading a part of the body where the host defense mechanisms are ineffective and the pathogen causes tissue damage. Here we see the different types of infection. Local infection. A local infection is limited to a specific part of the body where the microorganisms remain. Systemic infection. If the microorganisms spread and damage different parts of the body, the infection is a systemic infection. Acute infection. Acute infections generally appear suddenly or last a short time. Chronic infection. A chronic infection may occur slowly over a very long period and they last for several months or years. Bacteremia. When a culture of a person's blood reveals microorganisms, the condition is called bacteremia. Septicemia. When a bacteremia results in a systemic infection, It is referred to as a septicemia, which has become common over time. Nosocomial infections are classified as infections that originate in the hospital, and it is a subgroup of healthcare associated infections. Here we see the nosocomial and the health related infections. Number 1, urinary tract. The most common microorganisms in the urinary tract include E. coli, which is due to the improper catheterization techniques, Enterococcus species by the contamination of closed drainage system, and Pseudomonas aeruginosa due to the inadequate hand hygiene. The next one is the surgical sites. The most common microorganisms in surgical sites include Staphylococcus aureus, including MRSA, due to the inadequate hand hygiene, Enterococcus species, including vancomycin resistant strains, due to the improper dressing change techniques, and Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Bloodstream. The most common bloodstream microorganisms include coagulase negative staphylococci, which is due to the inadequate hand hygiene, Staphylococcus aureus, and Enterococcus species, which are due to the improper intravenous fluid, tubing, and site care techniques. Pneumonia. The most common causative organisms for pneumonia include Staphylococcus aureus, which is due to the inadequate hand hygiene, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, and Enterobacter species, which is due to the improper suctioning techniques. Thanks for watching. If the contents of this video are informative, please like and share the video. Subscribe the channel and click on the bell icon for more updates. Thank you.